Welcome to Doc Trailers. Today we're going to be interviewing Joanne Williams. Joanne is the director and producer of a fascinating new documentary by the name of Kaukauna King.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get it. We've had a million.
Welcome, and today we're going to speak with Joanne Williams, producer, director, distributor, all-around auteur, who found a story based on true events while cleaning out her garage. She came upon an amazing story sitting there right in her face. And of course, it's always so exciting to find why somebody goes, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this. I just have to do it. Joanne, can you tell us about the background of the story and how you decided to jump on this with both feet and just go for it?
Well, I knew this was a good story. It happened when I was in high school, and I was there when it happened. And yes, I found a box in my garage that was marked high school stuff. And of course, everybody has a box like that. And there was one copy of my high school newspaper in that box. And it said something about kids from Kaukauna coming to King. My high school was Rufus King High School. And Kaukauna is another high school in the Fox River Valley of Wisconsin, as they say, up north. And I knew about this story for all this time. I just never done anything with it because I was busy being in news and being a reporter and an anchor and raising my family. And when I found this copy of the newspaper, I looked at the date and it was 1966. I found the newspaper in 2016. And I said, this is a story. It was 50 years ago, and I think it's time to tell it.
I love these stories of, complete passion and naivete. And, we don't know how it's going to go, how long it's going to go. If somebody says, this is going to take like 6 years, you go, what? It's just like so present, so in the moment. And then when you jumped off the cliff and hoped that you would be growing wings on the way down, what was the process like, and over what period of time were you able to connect with your subjects and complete your project?
Well, there's an interesting story about how I got my producer. She was also a friend of mine from the television station where I worked, which was Fox 6 WITI in Milwaukee. And she and I were talking at our boss's funeral. And we were saying, well, what have you been up to? And what have you been up to? And I told her I wanted to do this film and I needed somebody to help me. And she said, okay, I'm in, because she liked the story.
She loved you too. I mean, there's a bond there. It's like,
yeah,
why wouldn't we do this? Of course, let's go.
Yeah. And then when we found all the people that we could, and we put together a reception of the original students, and this happened in 2016. And then as part of the story, the play In White America was restaged at Rufus King High School in 2016 with a new generation of high school students and a multi-ethnic cast. So we put together this reception for the original students who were going to be in town for one day. And that's the only day we could shoot these interviews. But the kids from King wanted to come and meet them. So we're talking about 25, 30 people all in one place, all in one day, and me trying to do interviews at the same time. So I asked her, would you come and help me do that? Would you handle all these other people while I go upstairs and do the interviews? And that's how we got our interviews shot. It was, when you're doing a doc, I have learned you do it when you can do it. And you shoot the people you can get when you get them. So that's how we ended up with our interviews. And that's also how we ended up with the interview of one of our favorite people in the film, the mother of one of the students who went on the exchange in 1966, who came along that day just for moral support for her daughter. She knew I was interviewing her daughter, Phyllis, and she said, well, yeah, I'll come along. And I said to her, I want to talk to you too. And she said, no, you don't need to talk to me. I don't have anything to say. I said, sure you do. You're her mother. You were there. You can tell me what happened. She turned out to be the best person in the film. So that's the way it goes when you're shooting a doc.
How much courage does it take for a Black woman in the 60s to send her precious daughter down to,
up to an all-white community that had never seen Black people in person before. Many of the people there only saw Black people on television.
And the stories that mother already had, wherever she came from, that was holding back, is like, I'm going to send my precious child into this something. And, everybody had seen the footage of what happened to those people when they were going to school in Alabama. And I was like, who knows?
Right.
How courageous. So
Yes.
Over what period of time were you able to complete this film? I mean, how long has this journey been? You started it when, and where are you now?
I started it in 2016 and it's finished now. So it's taken me 6.5, almost 7 years. It was finished actually on February 5th, 2022. That's when we hit the button that said submit to the Milwaukee Film Festival, which had been very, very supportive of us doing this film. So that was 6 years. And I never dreamed that it would take that long, because I was coming out of television where you do a story in a day. If you're lucky, you get 2 or 3 days, maybe even a week. But I was used to turning a story every day. So when I started, I thought, oh, this will take me maybe a year or so. And it didn't. It took so much longer. But I'm glad it did. And I'm glad I did it when I did it.
Yeah, this reminds me of the wonderful film by Les Blanc, Burden of Dreams. You have this, oh yes, and then, oh my gosh. And so what has that experience been like you? 6 years on the road with this wonderful film, and where are you now in terms of the outreach and the reception that you're having and the opportunity for national or international distribution?
Well, that's what we're working on now. I realize that even though the film is out in the world now, I still have 3 or 4, maybe another 6 years worth of work to do to get it seen by as many people as want to see it. And up to this point, it's been surprisingly successful. We've been in 7 film festivals. We've won awards in 5 of them: Best Documentary, Best True Story, Best Documentary Feature. And we had a tour of the film up in the Fox River Valley where Kaukauna High School is located. And we showed at 6 different venues over the course of a week. One of them was UW Oshkosh. And it showed to over 1,000 people in that tour. And I went up there and we showed the film, and then I would talk to the audience after each screening. We would have Q&A, and the Q&As always developed into longer conversations, which is what I hoped the film would spur. So I think I succeeded in my goal of getting people to talk to each other. And now I'm getting requests from organizations in not only up in the Fox River Valley, but I've gotten a request from a church here in Milwaukee that wants to screen it, and they have seats for 250 people. So the word is getting around. And my purpose in making the film, to one, tell the story, and two, bring people to a place where they can talk about their experiences. Both of those goals have been met.
I very much appreciate that, and I with the films that I'm making, that seems to be. I mean, you know, you made a film about people talking to each other and understanding each other and listening, and then that's nice, but you know, then you're just having them being an observer. It's like, no, I want you to be a participant, and I think that changes what an audience feels like. Otherwise, everybody's just siloed. It's like, yeah, I get it intellectually. It's like, no, it's not. It's like reading a book about dance. No, you have to dance. You do. This is what you do. You have to be doers of the word. You know,
Yes.
lip service, and it's like that's a really beautiful situation that you're putting them in, because actually then they demonstrate what they've seen. They're mirroring that, and I think that's such an amazing opportunity for documentaries to be able to help create a community. Somebody who 10 minutes ago you didn't know anything about them, and you're like, wow, whatever. And now it's like, oh my gosh, they're in the blend. They're with them. It creates a kind of a unity and an understanding. I think that's just one of the best purposes ever for a documentary.
What I'm going to do, the website for my documentary also includes a study guide for schools, for younger children, and then for high school level children, and a curriculum guide, which is 24 pages long, which is written by a teacher in the Milwaukee Public Schools for Milwaukee Film, which has all sorts of activities and discussion points. And it's all available for free on my website. So I'm going to go back to all these people that we screened with up in the Fox River Valley, because we have all their names. We have email addresses. And I'm going to go back to them, and after a while, maybe in a month or two, maybe in the spring, and say, I'm glad you came to the film. I hope you enjoyed the film. Have you talked about it with anybody else? And are you thinking of getting together with other people to discuss it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be happy to talk to you on a Zoom call with a group that you might want to get together about what you saw and what's happened since you saw the film.
Now, do you have any plans for rolling it out beyond Wisconsin, beyond the Midwest? I mean, this has so much applicability on a national basis in terms of conversation. I think we've been siloed enough, and I think there's just so many opportunities. But how would somebody reach you, or how would you like to see this go in terms of opening it up to greater possibility?
Well, just like as I started in 2016, not knowing what I was doing, I am at the point where I'm still not really knowing what I'm doing, but I'm open to any kind of conversation. So 2 of the festivals we screened in were on the West Coast, and they loved it on the West Coast. That's where it won 2 awards. And I would like people in other parts of the country to look at it, because I think it's a universal story. People can go back in their own high school years and their own growing up and say, I remember how things were happening when I grew up. And would I let my kids participate in something like this? I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out the ways that people all over the country can see the film and have these kind of conversations. And if you know the secret to that, Paul, please let me know, because I'm trying to figure it all out.
Yes. Well, you have the beginner's attitude, which is perfect, as opposed to, yeah, this is not going to work, or cynical, or nah, I didn't get picked up by Netflix. I mean, I think we're all in the same position as independent filmmakers, distributors. We have to do everything. We have to play first base, third base, pitch, and sell tickets and popcorn.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough. But I think that open attitude about what can this be, and finding people that are interested in it is critical. Because I saw the list of people that went to that high school, and then the things they did with their life. I mean, their parachute may not opened, you know what I mean? They could have just stayed siloed, but they all chose careers that touched other people. And I thought, that generative moment really opened them up and changed their life. And you know what? It was possibly because of the courage of this small high school that this happened. I mean, it was really impactful. And I just think that is phenomenal when you see that. And I think it also demonstrates, well, why wouldn't we get together? Why don't we talk about these things? I mean, that is direct, and that kind of communication really can, effectuate change and new purpose and new meaning and an understanding and friendships.
Yeah. One of the screenings, somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to tell my friends about seeing this movie because I liked it so much." And I said to them, those of you who are in the audience today came here because you wanted to see it. I want you to tell all the friends and neighbors who said, "No, I don't feel like going. No, I don't want to see it," that they should see it too. Those are the people we want to see the film and to join in their own discussions from whatever direction they're coming. Whatever they're thinking, as one of the people in the film says, maybe they'll be saying to themselves, I don't know if I'm thinking what I want to be thinking. So bring them into it too. Have the conversation. And it's tough. These conversations are tough. Sometimes I hear the dialogue from the film in my mind all the time. And I'm starting to speak that way, and I'm trying to say things not exactly the way it was said in the film, but the way they said it in the film is what we need to hear.
Yes. Well, there needs to be some discomfort in terms of conversations like this, because not saying it is to validate all the egregious wrongs and prejudices and every criminal violation that happened. So to talk about it is to break the bond of that silence, because it's the silence that's killing us. Because otherwise, it's like, yeah, that was okay, it was all right. And it's like, no, it was not all right. So we have to speak up and take responsibility for this moment.
Yeah, I just heard an interview with Isabel Wilkerson, who wrote The Warmth of Other Suns and Cast. And she said something that I wrote down because I was so impressed by it. She said, "Ignorance is no protection against the consequences of inaction. Not knowing is not protecting yourself."
Yeah, that's profound. I mean, it's like, so we think, well, what can I do with this knowledge? It's like, you can apply it to your life. You cannot be that ignorance. It's like, ignorance is not bliss,
Right.
Ignorance and power is the worst combination of the two. And there's something that James Baldwin had said about that. I mean, it's just it's a terrible thing, and it's hard to fight that. So we are sentient beings, and we have responsibility, not necessarily for the past, but based on the past. We have to make a better today. And it's not being disloyal to the United States. It's actually being loyal and saying we have to live up to what it actually says there.
Yes.
We the people, not some of the people. No, we the people. And it's such an affirmative thing. So I think that's an important step. And I really appreciate all that you're doing. And I'm hoping that you can have many screenings in many areas. And I think faith communities are one area, but I also think anywhere where there's diversity, equity, and inclusion opportunities throughout, industry. You have a workforce. You're going to be sitting next to all kinds of people. You have to get along, and you have to listen, and you have to understand, and judgment is not very useful, especially if you're going to be working with different people. Summarizing, how do people get in touch with you, ask about screenings, find out more about this? How can we help you?
You go to my website, which is theexchange50.com. All one word, the number 50, theexchange50.com. And you look at the stuff on the website, and then you go to the last page, the contact page, and you can leave me your name and your email address and a little message about how you want to see the film, or where you want to see the film, or what you want to do with the film. And I will call you back, and we'll see what we can arrange.
That's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. It's just been great speaking with you, and it's familiar territory here to spend time with people that have dedicated their careers for something better than today's burning story. As it's the continuous need. It's the same important content that fills the vacancies, those open spaces that just are yearning for something that's important and sticks to our soul. And you've got it in the exchange.
Thank you.
You've really
Thank
got
you
it.
very much. Thanks for inviting me.